Let's be honest. Modern companies are absolutely swimming in data, but actually putting it to good use? Well, that's a whole other story. Today, we're going to tackle a huge challenge that trips up so many organizations, the surprisingly tough job of enterprise data modeling. It's a real paradox, isn't it? Companies are pouring millions into fancy data infrastructure, hiring top talent, and yet the data itself often feels like a messy, untrustworthy puzzle. You can't make good decisions with it. So where's the disconnect? What's the broken link in the chain? That's exactly what we're going to get into. So here's our game plan. First, we'll unpack that core paradox and pinpoint where things usually go wrong. Then we'll flip the script and talk about the huge payoff when you get it right. After that, we'll map out a better blueprint for success and wrap up with how to make sure your model doesn't just collect dust. All right, first step, the data modeling paradox. The best way to picture data modeling is as a bridge. It's what connects all your raw data on one side to the smart business decisions you need to make on the other. The problem? For way too many companies, that bridge is crumbling. Just so we're all on the same page, let's nail down what we're talking about. Enterprise data modeling is, at its heart, the official blueprint for all your company's data. It's not just a tech thing for databases. It's about creating a single, shared language for what your data actually means and how it all connects across every single department. And this right here is the absolute key. So often, data modeling gets shoved into a corner and treated like some back office IT chore. But that's mistake number one. You only get real success when it's a team sport, a true collaboration between the tech folks building the systems and the business folks who have to use the data every single day. Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's perform an autopsy on why so many well-intentioned data projects just fall flat. It's time to look at the anatomy of that breakdown. To make this all a bit easier to digest, we can sort the common failures into three main buckets. You've got your classic communication breakdowns. Then you have the process pitfalls that teams fall into. And finally, there are the deep-seated structural flaws that can sabotage the whole thing from the start. The biggest communication gap really comes down to this. Your business teams and your data teams are speaking completely different languages. Seriously, one side is talking about goals, workflows, and what they need to achieve. The other is focused on table structures, logic, and systems. Without someone to translate, or better yet, a shared framework, the model ends up being built on a pile of risky assumptions. Let's use a super simple but very real example. Ask 5 different departments what a customer is. Is it someone who's signed up for a newsletter? The marketing team might say yes. Is it only someone who is actually paid an invoice? Finance would probably say yes to that. See the problem? Without one single agreed-upon definition, everyone pulls different numbers, you get conflicting reports, and nobody trusts the data anymore. This leads us right into a classic process pitfall, the tool-first trap. Everybody wants those slick, shiny dashboards, right? So teams rush to build them. But this quote nails it. That's exactly like trying to build a house without a blueprint. Sure, you can throw up some walls, but it's going to be unstable, crooked, and you'll have no chance of adding a second story later. And there are other process traps, too. You get over-engineering, where the model becomes this ridiculously complex monster because it's trying to predict every possible future need. It's a mess. Then there's poor documentation, which basically means all the important logic lives inside one person's head. When they leave, that knowledge walks right out the door, and you're back to square one. And finally, we've got the structural flaws. If a data model doesn't have a clear owner, it's basically an orphan. Nobody's responsible for keeping it up to date. And if it's built to be rigid and inflexible, it can't change when the business changes. Instead of helping you move forward, it becomes this giant roadblock. Okay, so we've seen how things break down. Enough of the doom and gloom. Let's talk about the breakthrough. Because getting data modeling right isn't just about avoiding problems. It is about creating a real, measurable business advantage. This quote really gets to the heart of the mindset shift you need. A good data model isn't just some thing for the tech team to worry about. No, it's a strategic asset. It's the engine that directly fuels better, faster, and more confident decisions across the entire company. And that advantage isn't just a vague idea. It's measurable. We're talking about a potential speed up in analytics workflows by as much as 60%. Just think about that. That means your analysts are spending way less time wrestling with messy data and way more time actually finding the insights that move the needle. And the benefits just keep rolling from there. You get far less rework and no more of those meetings where everyone shows up with conflicting reports. Your leaders can make decisions faster and with more confidence. Trust in data goes way up. And hey, as a bonus, it's way easier to get new hires up to speed because the logic is all laid out for them. So knowing the why is great, but what about the how? Let's get practical. It's time to talk about building a better blueprint with some clear, actionable steps you can actually use. Success really boils down to 5 key things. First, pick tools that are built for collaboration, not for lone wolves. Second, and this is huge, treat your model like a product that evolves, not a one-and-done project. Third, use visuals. They are your best friend for getting business folks engaged. Fourth, build that shared glossary we talked about and actually link it to your models. And finally, don't try to boil the ocean. Start small with a really important business area and get a win. And just as important as what to do is what not to do. So please avoid these common traps. Don't chase perfection and build something way too complicated from the get-go. Don't you dare jump into coding without getting real input from the business stakeholders. Don't leave documentation for later, because later never comes. And don't think one type of model is going to work for every single part of your business. We're almost there, but this last piece is absolutely critical. A data model is not a statue you build and then just admire from afar. You have to keep it alive. So let's talk about how to turn it from a static file into a living, evolving asset. This right here is the mindset you need. Your business changes constantly, right? New products, new markets, new strategies. Your data model has to be built to change right along with it. The goal isn't a perfect, rigid structure that never ever changes. The real goal is a flexible framework that can adapt and evolve. So, how often should you check in on your model? The key is to look for triggers. Think of them as check engine lights. Anytime your main business goals or KPIs change, that's a trigger. Anytime you add a new system or a new data source, that's a trigger. Or if you start to see people stop using the dashboards or errors start creeping up, yeah, that's a huge trigger. It's time for a review. So really, it all comes down to this one fundamental shift in how you think about it. A data model isn't something you just create once. It's a living asset that you have to constantly nurture and care for if you want it to deliver real, lasting value. And that leaves us with one final question for you to take back to your own organization. Take a hard look at how you handle data. Is your data model a dusty, forgotten blueprint sitting on a digital shelf somewhere? Or is it a living, breathing product that's actually helping to drive your business forward? Because honestly, the answer to that question makes all the difference in the world.